Alrighty guys, on today's episode I decided to spend a full episode talking about the Sony Xperia 1 Mark V and just kind of say how I really feel about this smartphone, because I really think it is a great phone, but I just feel bad because nobody's gonna buy it, and I just kind of want to highlight it for this purpose. But before we do that, as you know, it's morphin' time!
Apple nerd, Google nerd, Samsung nerd,
OnePlus phone nerd.
Form Technoid.
Alrighty, the first story, the main story, and really the only story for today is the Sony Xperia 1 Mark V. Now, I've been covering this phone when the rumors started up, and essentially my thoughts have been the same since the making of this video. I think it's one of the best Androids that you can buy. I think it's one of the best premium packages a smartphone can offer. It's just a really big shame that it's not gonna sell well, and there are several reasons as to why. And I'll talk about those reasons as we go along, but let's talk about the Xperia 1 Mark V for just a moment. On the surface, it is a great smartphone. It is everything that Sony does combined into one device. From their audio department, their camera department, their TV department, their speaker department. Everything that Sony makes is in this phone. Starting with the display, it is a 120Hz pure 4K OLED display. Yes, a 4K OLED display with 120Hz to give you true 4K quality on a smartphone. No smartphones that I know, with the very few exception of iPads, are gonna do that. That's number one. Number two, it also features the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2. Now, while I had wished they would have waited to put the 8 Gen 2 Plus, at the end of the day, it's the latest smartphone CPU, and considering Sony's optimization has gotten a lot better, it's definitely going to last a lot longer, especially with software support, because Sony has announced that they will be doing 4-year software support, which I think is plenty. On top of that, it contains a headphone jack with high DAC res, meaning high-res audio. I don't know why it came out like that, but then it also supports 3D audio wired. So there's a lot of capabilities right there. On top of that, the camera quality has seen a new upgrade where it is now housing their Xperia camera, most importantly their Alpha series lenses. So I don't see any problem with this so far of what I'm saying. It's literally everything you would want in a smartphone. On top of that, it has Sony's software, which is the camera software built in with the hardware. It also contains, in my opinion, the best display on any smartphone. It's got a 21:9 aspect ratio. It's a great phone to feel in the hand. I've actually used it. And lastly, the price point is not that unreasonable. It's $1,400. Now, most people are probably saying, oh, $1,400. Listen, Samsung phones start at $1,099. This phone is only a few $100s more, but you're getting so much more hardware and technology. So I don't see that being the worst thing in the world. However, with everything that I just said, it doesn't matter. Because here's why this phone is not gonna sell, and I feel terrible saying that. First of all, if we look at the numbers, if we actually dissect the numbers, there is little to no market share with Sony Xperia smartphones. Now, that could change in a year or two from now. Their Xperia 5 series, the mid-range series, has proven to be a hit. It has proven that it can sell at a cheaper price point, but the flagships have little to no market share. You can't make this up. That's number one. Number two is the lack of carrier support. Yes, this phone will work in the United States. It will work on T-Mobile's network, but when it comes to true carrier support like Verizon, AT&T, this phone is nowhere to be found. That's not to say that it can't work with the networks, but if you want that 5G ultra wideband and AT&T 5G Plus experience, well, it will work, but don't expect them to rave about it. It is certified to work with the networks, but they're not gonna get pushed like a Samsung and Apple device or even a Google Pixel for that matter. Also on top of that, you gotta have a specific Verizon device to take advantage of their ultra wideband, which literally makes no sense nowadays, but here and there as we go. Another negative of why this is not gonna sell is because the general consumer is okay with taking less and getting more in value. What that means is most people are willing to pay for the premium, but sometimes people are willing to take less for half the price. Take a look at the Google Pixel A series. They are an incredible home run for Google. And now the 7A just came out and it's gonna do just as well. And considering the high value you're getting with the Tensor G2, on top of that, you're also getting great camera quality, software, hardware optimization is going to be the best that it's ever been. And then you look at Samsung phones, they're in that ballpark as well. Consumers are willing to pay, and with the double trade-in values, look, I could go on and on and on, but I didn't want to make this video to undermine the Xperia. And listen, at the end of the day, I know people are going to see this video and they're going to be mad, and I don't care because your opinion, your voice doesn't matter. You know what matters in the end is you actually going out and buying the device. That is how you show support, not what you think or what you say. It's what you do. Your wallet is what talks. And if that doesn't talk, then this phone is not going to sell. Now, Sony fans, I understand you probably don't like what I'm saying, but prove me wrong. Go buy the phone, spend the $1,400 and get your integration. Hey, if you're a PlayStation fan or a Sony TV fan or a Sony, WH-1000, whatever, you'll get the best of everything. But if you're an other person, as long as you're using something like this, an iPhone, or if you're using a Samsung phone or a Google phone, there's a good chance they're not gonna switch over unless there is a good reason to. Now, what are some ways that Sony can kind of build on this? There are actually a lot of ways, and Sony for some reason doesn't seem to care, but this is what they can do. First of all, partner up with a carrier. It doesn't matter what carrier you partner with. Just partner with one to push the device so it can be sold and get some good trade-in values with 24-month billing credits. That's one. Number two is an actual marketing promotion. Actually push this device in the marketing aspect, spend money on advertisement like Google does with the NBA Finals and the playoffs, like Apple does with billboards on Broadway and Times Square. Actually spend money. Don't put them in movies that people are not gonna notice for even a split second. Actually feature them and have it on. And third, most importantly, if you want this device to sell, I'm not even saying lower the price, but give the people some good trade-in that can at least appreciate the phone for when it depreciates, it doesn't depreciate by that much. So allowing for a double trade-in value with some freebies in there, fine. If you want to throw in a pair of headphones, you want to throw in some PlayStation credit, fine. But getting people to switch is the key and the priority. And the Sony Xperia 1 Mark V is that phone. I personally would be willing, and I normally do not ever think this, but if it were up to me, if I was done paying off this foldable, because I still got a year to go, I would 100% trade in my Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 4 for a Sony Xperia 1 Mark V. But that's just me. I would do it if I wasn't stuck on it. If it was paid off today, I'm taking it. But until then, we'll see what happens in a year. But I didn't want to make this video just to talk about people, but at the end of the day, we gotta call it like it is. And if you're upset with what I'm saying, well then guess what? Like I said, prove me wrong. Go out there, buy the phone, be a user, actually be a part of the market share. Otherwise, this phone is just going to continue to be what it's always been, a great phone that nobody cares about. And that's sad because the Xperia 1 Mark V is an absolutely phenomenal phone and it deserves to be in the hands of consumers, and it really should be in carrier stores.